He's so old. He was at a funeral and someone said it's hardly worth the trip back home. He's a very old man. Sleepy Joe.
Well, Mr. Biden, you're obviously sitting next to Mr. Trump there. What would you have to say to those comments?
This is malarkey, man.
Because I do a Homer Simpson, and I'm a Marge.
How many cases today?
Well, I was at Strandbags and there was like 30 cases in there at least. I'm standing there like off the mic and I just like for everyone to hear, I go, excuse me, are you a midget? And she's looking at me like, what? And I go, no, it's okay. Yes. Welcome to the Soft Hotel.
All right, Dos, we're sitting across from a man of many voices, many personalities. Ben Price, welcome to the dos&d show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be sitting across from you guys too.
No, we're excited, Ben. I mean, there's so many different paths. Firstly, we didn't know who you were going to come in as. We were probably a bit shocked to see just your everyday face. Normally you play all these different characters.
I should have come in as the Terminator. This would have been the perfect little spot to ride in on the Harley and say, I'm here, guys. This is fantastic to see dos&d. Look at you guys.
Wow, that's amazing. we actually had someone on a few weeks back, Tony Doherty, who actually had a pretty good Arnold impersonation as well.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
Not quite to Ben's
He does,
level,
yeah.
Yeah, I was yours was a lot better, but still two in a month.
It's unbelievable. Well, Ben, firstly, congratulations on 24 years. And I'm being quite serious because I imagine it's a very tough industry to stay relevant in and stay on top of. So what's been the secret of your longevity?
Just keep doing it. I don't know. My wife keeps telling me maybe do something else. And I'm like, no, I'm going to stick it out. Yeah. There's been a few tough years during COVID, but, thankfully it's worked out. It worked out for you guys pretty well. So it's, you just got to keep going. And when you love what you do, you just find a way to make it work. And somehow it has, thankfully. So I'm very grateful.
Let's rewind, say 15 years, right? D's sitting in his lounge room with his family. What I've heard is watching a DVD of you.
Yes.
It's quite surreal, actually.
Doing your work, your stand-up. How did that feel when D said that? I was shocked as well when he told me that before you came in. I went, what?
I know. That is so cool. I didn't realise people were still watching DVDs, but that was obviously back in the day. That's how long ago it was. And, it's really cool that it got out there and people remembered me. I didn't know how you knew me.
Made its way to Mornington.
Made its way down there. Well, it's
Really?
interesting. We were talking about the 12th man just off air. And I remember seeing him interviewed at the cricket one day and he was talking about meeting Richie Benno and he was really nervous because he took the piss out of him for so many years. But he basically said, I better go thank this bloke because he's put my kids through high school. So,
exactly.
So throwing it back on you, which characters have put your kids through high school? What have been the long...
Well, I would say Arnie, and I did get to meet Arnie.
Oh, really?
I didn't get to tell him thank you for all the work that you've given me, but I got to meet Arnie, and I was dressed up like Arnie. This was fantastic because I've got this leather jacket, and I had this Terminated face because I had all special effects makeup on me, and I got to meet and greet people that came to meet him. They were there for, I think, the Arnold Classic or one of those events that he was down in Australia for. And when I met him, I said, hey, it's great to meet you. It's like, looking in the mirror, you're my twin brother. And he's like, looking fantastic. And he goes, it was so weird. And I'm just playing off that. And he goes, who does the makeup? And I said, it's not makeup. I had a fight with a Democrat. And I expected he was going to laugh like you guys, but he goes, no. Who does the makeup? And I've never been more intimidated in my whole life. And I went, it's the makeup artist. He goes, but what's the name? That was the time. And I met him.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
And so I just went, I don't know who it was. And he said, doesn't matter, it looks fantastic. And we're getting photos like this, and we're doing the flex, and I'm going, look at the arms, look at the forearms. They're like 8 arms. They're so huge. They're so great. And... So it was a bit intimidating meeting Arnie, but him and probably Donald Trump I've got a lot to thank for in the last few years.
Was he impressed?
I think so, yeah. He was impressed with the makeup, so I'll go with that.
Oh, seriously,
I'm sure it would be so weird. He would always have people doing his voice. But
I was going to say, would he be almost the most impersonated person, do you reckon?
Just about. Him or Christopher Walken.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Excuse me. Hello. everybody does a Christopher Walken impersonation. I think people don't really imitate Christopher Walken. They imitate the impression of.
Yeah.
You notice that they always go, hello, and they end up sounding like Bobcat Goldthwait from Police Academy. Like, no, you know. But he's got a great voice like that. Das&d. Thank you
That's amazing.
for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite to do? I know you probably get asked that all the time. Like,
Yeah. Oh, I love doing Christopher Walken. I mean, I love doing Arnie, even though sometimes I get a bit sick of it. President Trump is a lot of fun to do. You know, a lot of people who really want him is great to do because he's got not only a lot of the voice, but the mannerisms and the way that he holds his voice and does all these kind of things. It's great.
But that is unbelievable.
yeah, that's
I do
amazing.
love...
That is unreal.
People ask if I can do a Biden voice, and I don't even know if he can, but, you know...
No,
but
can't.
he's fun to
Yeah.
do.
You know, because if you forget what you're going to say, it doesn't matter because you know we're going to.
Sorry. Zoned out.
Bright lights.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is
bright
so
lights.
funny. That is so funny. Have you ever? I mean, we'll get into your story shortly, but have you ever accidentally offended any of these people by any chance? I mean, I doubt you have, but have you ever got a message from somebody saying, "Hey, stop"? Or
Not from any of the celebrities. I don't think so. I think I heard maybe Dermy might have got offended once.
really?
Because I used to do a Dermot Brereton years ago on Live and Kicking on Channel 7 back in the day. And I think he liked it, but I wasn't sure if he was like a bit, you know, sensitive to it. But yeah, I used to do a Dermy and he used to go up pretty high. And yeah, I was talking about my days at Hawthorn when I was pretty aggressive, violent player. Yeah. So
It's unbelievable.
it's like that. I don't know why he'd be offended by it, but I don't think so. I don't think I've ever upset anybody. Although Eddie Maguire used to always go, nobody can do my voice. And I used to say, no, I'm going to do it. And I spoke to Eddie once on radio as Eddie. And I was like, g'day, Eddie. I know you can't be everywhere at once, so Eddie Maguire's talking to Eddie Maguire. Fantastic. And all the boys at Collingwood were talking with Eddie Maguire and Eddie Maguire. And he goes, that's not a bad job. Yeah, no, I don't know if he could do it, but it's not a bad try.
Going back to, I guess, the start. When do you start understanding and working out like, wow, I can do someone's voice? Or did you look at other people who did impressions of celebrities and try them yourself? How do you begin that career?
It started with accents for me because
Okay.
I had a friend from England who used to talk like that, and so you know that's where it all began. I was 10 years old, and I just did his voice, and I'm like, this is fun, and
Yeah.
And then I grew up watching Comedy Company, so you know, you guys might be a bit young to remember that, but there was Uncle Arthur, who Glenn Robbins did. Before he did Russell Coight, he used to do "You're all Uncle Arthur, having a beautiful day today, young kiddies," and it's probably fun to watch on YouTube. But I did all those characters, and then I used to mimic prime ministers, and then in 12th Man, like you're saying, with Richie, and it was marvellous. Super effort that, and yeah.
Richie Benno.
Well, it's funny
Bless
you
his
say
soul.
that he got nervous talking to Richie. I got nervous talking to the 12th Man. We were interviewing each other. He was doing Richie, and I was doing Tony Gregg. We were interviewing each other.
Oh my goodness.
And it just felt like, I've gone into the CD.
Yeah.
It's like, this is weird, surreal moment where I'm talking like this, and then Bill Laurie's there. Got him. It's all happening here. What a great day for Australia. And so we're just doing this and sparring off each other.
amazing.
It was really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, like, is it a party trick for you? Like, imagining when you're growing up, like, is it a party trick for you? And then when do you start going, hey, I can actually forge some kind of career from this?
Bit of a party trick. Yeah. I had the idea I wanted to do tapes when I was early on. It was a party trick with friends at school because I would do it just for mates and
Were you a
mimic
class clown? Were you
teachers. Kind of
Yeah.
a class clown or comedian. Yeah, because I would mimic teachers and they would get me to do it.
They would hate you.
Well, I think they liked it. I think they said they did. You know, I've even gone back to some of my old high schools. I went to a couple of high schools where they got me to come and mimic teachers at dinners, and I I can still do them, but it's funny.
Wow.
So would you be able to, in that situation, to be able to see someone, hear them, see their mannerisms for 10, 15, 30 minutes and be able to get a rough gauge?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes people go, oh, can you do my voice? And it's like, I need a bit more time.
Yep.
Some voices I get really quick, but others I've got to really study and then I can learn them. But yeah, it doesn't happen instantaneously like it might if someone's got a crazy voice. It's happened before where I'm like, oh, I've got to send up this person. But yeah, I think definitely it was back at school. And then I think, yeah, as I said, I wanted to make tapes. That was my like the 12th Man. That's what I wanted to do, and I did. I did make a tape years and years ago, and then CDs and DVDs, and now they're comedy specials. But it's it's interesting how the journey works to be able to now go, I'm doing this full time to make a living. It's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
It still is. It's always got to be that fun thing. You'd never want to lose that where it's just a job.
Mm.
How, like, for people that like to do impressions or even just accents, what are some of the basic tips that people typically would get wrong when trying to do, say, an accent? And what are some things that, like, what are easy ways to almost get it somewhat right?
I don't know. If they're learning, say, a Donald Trump voice, a lot of people mimic, as I said before, they do it with Christopher Walken. They mimic the impression. Someone came up to me once after a gig and I'd never heard this guy's voice, so I didn't know what this guy was doing. And he came up and he goes, "You're fantastic, you're really great." And I went, "Oh, he's doing a Trump." But I said, "I think you're doing an Alec Baldwin doing Trump." And he's like, "Oh yeah," because I can see the way you're doing it. And so I think it's always good to look at the original. But when I watched him, initially I've got to get this guy's voice, but I couldn't get his voice.
Really?
Yeah, well, I had something there, but it's not quite, because he looks like he'd have a deep voice. He looks like he'd be, like that. And I was like, doing it like that, well, it's not quite right. But then I started listening to him, and I'm like, oh, it's way up there. It's much more, it's a lot higher up there like that. It's so fantastic, it's much more in that zone. And so the voice doesn't fit the way that he looks. And it's great to be here. It's an honor for you to have me, dos&d, and I'm D too, D Trump. It's so great. But I think listening to the voice helps. Getting the catchphrases helps.
Yep.
Getting the speed of the voice, all those things help. And you just practice and practice and practice. But I don't know that with Arnie, it's a lot about phonetically how you can say certain words. For example, like this and that instead of this and that. It was this and that. And you got to get that depth. You got to get that depth first before you get the deep voice, and then you can say it like that. And this is fantastic. So there's a few tips that you can learn how to do a voice, but the best thing for me is I just have to watch them. I remember I learnt Kevin Rudd's voice back in the day.
Yeah.
And I thought, I watched him all weekend to learn him. And I remember having this
Wasn't
thought.
the footage of him doing chin-ups on the chin-up bar in the playground? Have you seen that footage?
No.
He can barely do
handball.
Oh, there's some footage of him really struggling. Yeah.
to do a chin-up.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, for the working families. Yeah. But I watched him all weekend and watched over and over this speech that he did, and I thought, if I don't learn the voice, this is going to be the worst weekend ever, that I just never got the voice. But I afterwards, I was getting it and speaking like this to all the working families out there in Australia, or as we say in Mandarin, ni hao feng pei, shi shi la. And so, I had to just watch over and over and then trial and error and go, how does that sound? Yeah, I think I've got it.
So we probably caught you at the local hospital getting your side stitched up, because Ben Price is so bloody funny. But we have to interrupt you just for a moment for a word from our good friends at Fleet Plan Hire Solutions.
Fleet Plan Hire, FBH as we like to call them.
Yep.
They are the kings when it comes to earth moving. But if you want to know more about Fleet Plan, head to fbh.com.au.
Back to the episode with Ben Price. If I had your talent, Ben, this just goes to my head. Okay, what would I be doing? And the first thing I'd do is, I'd literally be, if I ordered fast food, it'd be just Trump. I'd be doing, have you ever done any, do you ever play around and just decide, I'm going to ring somebody as Trump? Not a friend, but a stranger.
I have, yes.
That'd be a great
I
video.
rang a guy that was like a gardening guy as Trump.
Yeah.
And this was early on, so I think I could do the voice a lot better now. But I was just testing out. I'm going to prank someone and ring him up as Trump. And I didn't say who it was. I just said, I'd love you to come over to my place because we'd love you to build a hedge out the back because we want to block out the neighbors. They're not bringing their best. We don't want to see them. We don't want to see our neighbors. So how high can you build this hedge? And he's like, oh, about 3 feet. We need it bigger than that. We need it a lot bigger than that. It's too small. And he's going, all right. And we need to build a wall. And I'm saying all this, and eventually I said, I want to have something carved into the wall. Okay, what would you like? Spell it for you. TRUM. And he goes, oh, okay. I got it. And it was a lot of fun. I've done a whole bunch of pranks on people.
You mentioned practice. So the first thing I thought was, I'm assuming you have your own little room where you practice because your wife just must be so sick of Trump. or Arnie.
Yep.
Or does she love it? Or the kids, do they love it?
No, they probably get a bit sick of it. Yeah, to be honest. No, the car.
The car.
Yeah. And if someone catches me, it's like I'm on the phone, hands free. Yeah. But I'll probably be there doing all of this as well. I'm going to talk. If I'm telling my wife a story, hands on the wheel, because I'll be like this doing the voice. Even if I'm doing just a voice, like I'll do a Robert De Niro impression. And sometimes it's just someone wants an audio for a message or something. Yeah. I'll still do the expressions. I still go like that because if I'm not doing that, I'm not feeling the character. It helps me, to speak like that. So
it makes sense though.
It makes a lot of sense because when people see that, it really helps.
Yeah. What's the cat called? Jinxie.
Jinxie.
I love Jim Taxi Driver, Robert. Yeah. So going has all your comedy always been impressions, or have you gone as a stand-up as Ben Price and doing like a normal set, or how does it work?
Pretty much always been impressions or accents.
Yep.
But the more and more I've been doing it, there's been a lot more stand-up and that come into it as well. Yep. And to the point where I'm like, I should do some voices because I'm doing a lot of stand-up. But that's what makes it. Because it used to be like, I don't know what else to do. I'm only funny if I can do a voice. But I want to have both, And so, it's definitely grown a lot more where I'm doing more stand-up and telling a lot more stories. But I always like to throw in a voice. Even if it's, just like I would tell stories about when I was a kid and I dress up as Batman and I'd have to speak like Batman to do it. Even though it wasn't like I did that voice back then. It was Lego Batman, by the way. Lego Batman's a lot more cool. I'm a Night Stalking vigilante. Yeah.
Did you ever dive down the Borat lane?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
this will get DOS.
Oh, because
I did the like a Borat. Yes, great success.
Because as a family, and Dave, it'd be funny for you to tell a story because just how our whole family it's evolved and now changed. You grew up with me to then.
Well, Ben, cutting a very long story short, when we were in high school, you couldn't go into the Custerson household without everybody speaking in Borat except for his mum, right? And I don't know how his mum put up with it because she started kind of catching on as the years go.
He is. That's Ben Price.
That's actually me.
I thought that was
Borat. No. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but you tell me.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I genuinely thought that was Borat.
I know.
Well, basically, the household, they just caught on, and it was just literally. I'm too embarrassed to try to do a Borat accent in front of you, but that's all it was. You'd come in, it'd just be hello, and
but then it transitioned then into a mixture from like Borat and Nacho Libre and something like. It just became like a family language, and it was a combo, and we still do it now.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to come and visit. I'll dress up like that. That was funny because I started doing his voice when I'd first seen the first TV series.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking to people on the street. Yes, can I ask you a favor? Or I can't remember. Where is toilet? And I need to do a toilet. And I always do this voice. And he wasn't that famous, but I had that voice.
Need to do a toilet.
And I remember someone asked me once, could you dress up like him and MC someone's bar mitzvah? And I said, why not? And I had this wig, and I put this wig on and think, I don't know if it'll work. I put the moustache on, and I looked at myself and I went, I'm Borat. And I bought this grey suit from the op shop for $20. And then everyone at the party thought I was literally Borat. They actually said, "I love your movie. Great success." And I had to introduce this, like the grandmother was like this
Just can't breathe.
Russian Jewish woman. She was like about 5 foot tall. And I'm standing there like off the mic, and I just like for everyone to hear, I go, "Excuse me, are you a midget?" And she's looking at me like, "What?" And I go, "No, it's okay. Yes, welcome to the Soft Hotel. We're at the Soft Hotel.
Yeah, the Soft Hotel.
And you can do yes." And it was just hilarious. But I used to dress up like Borat a lot, and everyone would say, "Are you wearing the mankini?"
Yeah, I was about to ask.
of
Going to be my
course.
next question.
Everyone would ask. So, but I never did. I'd wear it underneath. Just it was like, I'm not going to have that going out.
How often do you have to, just like normal comics, like they have to keep updating their set and routine.
Yeah.
How often do you have to keep, I suppose, staying relevant with new people coming, to fame?
I don't know. You try to make it last as long as you can, but you don't want to just replace the whole thing in one go.
Sure.
That's risky. I've done it before, and it's hard because you just don't feel comfortable doing new stuff. It's like, I want to do something I'm comfortable with. So you just a little bit at a time, just introduce new stuff. So, yeah, I had this set that I did where I talked about I went to the coronation in London last year. I was over in London during that time, so I had this set about that, and then I tweaked it a bit and made it about the Olympic Games recently, and I was like, oh, that still works because it's still over there, and just gradually, had all these different celebrities there, and then I asked people who else could have been at the Olympics, what other celebrities might there have been, and that's scary because you don't know what people are going to ask.
Sure.
And it can either work or it can just it's risky.
Have you ever gone down the Barry Humphries path of female characters?
Oh. No, not really. When Julia Gillard came in as Prime Minister, I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I was doing a radio gig every day. I would do Kevin Rudd on radio every day. And I was doing Steve Bracks at the time. Steve Bracks was the Premier of Victoria, yes. And he's very breathy, like he's out of breath all the time. It's a fun voice. And actually similar to Daniel Andrews, isn't he? Daniel Andrews' very scary voice. We're right to go. Okay. Yes.
Giving me PTSD.
Yes. Sorry.
How many cases today?
Well, I was at Strandbags and there was like 30 cases in there at least. So it's a terrible joke. But anyway, I was doing all these radio voices. When Julia Gillard came in, I said to my wife, "You're going to have to do this voice, otherwise I'll lose my radio gig." Because she could do a Kath and Kim impression.
Oh,
she
really?
could do Kath. She'd go, "Oh, it's nice, it's unusual, yes, it's different." So I'd write the script and she'd do Julia Gillard, yes, having negotiations, and so we'd do that. And
so you can teach it
a little bit, yeah. And so she's the only one I've ever really imitated, or Marge Simpson, a little bit.
Because I do a Homer Simpson, and I'm a Marge.
Oh, homie, so that's probably the only female voice that I can do. And I've sort of been working on a Kamala Harris. It's about halfway there, so I can't quite do it.
Well, if she gets in, you're going to need it, aren't you?
Yeah, so we'll
let's
see.
hope not, but-
I tried to do it once. Like someone asked at a gig, and I said, "We can be unburdened by what can be." And I was like, "No, I sound like Michael Jackson." So I was like, just as funny. But I know.
Do you have a Michael Jackson one? Sorry.
Well, I do a Michael. I used to do a Michael Jackson, and
Oh, that's creepy.
It is a bit creepy.
Sorry.
No, I was going to ask, was there a time in your earlier years when you were, say, learning an impression, or it was just the infancy of the stage where you flopped and it didn't quite connect to the audience, and what that feeling was like if you had it?
Yeah, not so much with my voices. I always test them before I do them. Sometimes I've had that where it's flopped, where people might not know the character. I don't know why there's a lot of audiences that don't know Christopher Walken. And sometimes I've gone to do it and it hasn't worked, and I'm going, well, that's for the only two people that know Christopher Walken. And then I kind of move on. But usually if I've flopped, it's more been because, well, the sound has been bad, or, when I was early days, I actually grew up learning a lot of these voices. I went to a church. We'd go to camps, and I'd get up and perform on these sketch nights. And I was doing a Bob Hawke. This is like Prime Minister in the 80s. And I had this mask like from the fancy dress shop, and I was just nailing it. I was doing everything I was meant to do, but everyone's looking at me like,
who is he?
Like, who are you doing?
Yeah.
And then eventually, after a few minutes, I think it was my mum in the crowd goes, "Take off your mask," because all they could hear is, "Ah," and I went, "Oh no, this is awful."
Oh.
And but I haven't really. The only time I really died on stage, it was the worst gig ever.
Oh, PTSD.
Yeah, I had a little bit of PTSD from this gig because it was. Well, I'll say who it was for. It's for the Victorian Labor Party. Say no more. But so in a way, I didn't want to do too well. But no, I used to do Steve Brax, and they said don't do Braxy, and it was grand final week, and they wanted me to do Rex Hunt, and I went, oh, that's fine, and I worked out this routine to come out like Rexy and dress up like a fisherman and say, "G'day, folks, it's Big Rexy here. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits, and it's great to be here." And I had the makeup and everything. And I thought I was nailing it, and it just went down like a lead balloon.
Really?
And I had 20 minutes on stage, and I thought, this is going to be so tough. And I got off stage and went, oh, no. I just, it was the worst. And someone asked me later, why did you do him? And I said, well, they asked for it. And they said, did you realize that they hate him because of all the fishing laws? And I went, oh. So I think it was like, the wrong brief. They must have said, oh, don't do anyone but him. And but I learned.
One name, Rex.
Yeah. But in hindsight, I thought, I should have just ripped off the beanie and started saying, look, obviously you don't like Rexy, but let's do a few other voices. But it was a learning experience. I've had a couple like that. I think you have to have some bad gigs to appreciate the good ones. You can't just have, if they're all like that, you need to change careers. But I've probably done, I would say, over 1,000 shows.
Wow.
But I would say there's been about 4 or 5 that you go, oh, that was bad. And maybe because that was the wrong audience, or maybe it was usually because the sound or lighting are terrible, or the audience is drunk, and they get you on and you think, oh, this is hard. This is hard work. But you just got to do your best. Someone booked me once to perform at a nightclub.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And I get in there, it's and I went, and I'm yelling, and I'm going, where do you want me to go on? What? And no one could hear me. I was yelling into the microphone, and then I went, what do you want me to do? And couldn't do it. Yeah, it was literally like, this is ridiculous. This is
dumb.
Years ago.
Yeah.
And but I'd say, majority of gigs go pretty well. Yeah, you prepare, and if you're going to fail in the rehearsal. Yeah. And then sometimes you'll watch a video and you go, oh, I don't want to do that again. Next time I'll, you learn each time. Yeah. Next time I'll do that instead. Or that was good, I'll do more of that. And sometimes you'll ad-lib something and you go, well, that was good, I'm going to keep that. And comedy just writes itself these days. Some of the stuff that you see that Trump says, you go, or Biden should be saying, you go, this is just gold.
It's
like how can you not imitate it, right? It's a funny world. You got to laugh.
We were talking off air earlier about a couple of comedians we've had on, and we actually had the conversation with both of them about the same topic, which is the whole the comedy landscape, stand-up comedy landscape, but regarding TikTok and social media.
Oh yeah.
And just these days now, that's how a lot of these comedians are up and coming and selling out shows, like
crowd work.
Yeah, crowd work, dealing with the crowd, going back and forth. Has TikTok been something for you that you've utilised yourself, or have you not? And onto Dee's point, in terms of crowd work, is that a key part of the impressions?
I've only just got onto it in the last few months because initially people said, oh, don't go there, Chinese people are spying on you. And then I figured, well, maybe let them enjoy it. They might like my comedy. They might go, oh, he's a funny guy. I like what he's doing. Yeah, let's keep spying on him. Let's give him views, okay? So that could be a good thing.
At the TikTok office, they're loving their prize.
I know. So let's just do it. The first time I'm not doing it. But yeah, I started getting onto it, and it's actually cool. I've got a few. I haven't exploded on there yet. Got a few hundred views. Most of them are mine, but my kids have watched a few. Yeah. And my daughter, she's like 16. She's going, you got to put this hashtag, Dad. You got to put that one on. Okay, right. Yep. Cool. So it's
my
interesting.
brain just goes like he could be massive.
Yeah.
Like you're already
Yeah.
big, but I'm like you could be bloody even bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a total different generation.
Oh,
Sammy,
we'll-
what have you
we'll
got
get
up
there.
here? You've got something.
Oh right. Oh, this. Yeah.
An old gem.
Yeah. That.
Well, it's Dr.
Dr.
Phil
Phil.
here.
Oh my
I
gosh.
consult a lot of people over a number of issues, give them all kinds of therapy. Really, laughter is the best medicine. Now, if you want laughter, I recommend you go along, see Ben Price, Hollywood, live and uncut. Here's the details.
Wow.
Even the
Wow.
dress up is spot on.
That's funny because that was like that show that I did, I think 2006. Yeah, the year later, I actually got full prosthetics to look exactly
Really?
like Dr. Phil. Yeah, because I figured I'm the same height and build, and I got these full prosthetics to look exactly like Dr. Phil. And it was so crazy that I would go walking on the street doing a bit of street talk as
Yeah.
Dr. Phil.
Oh, that'd be
and people
great.
go, "Hey, Dr. Phil, and we go, good to see you." And it looked so crazy. And someone said when he came to Melbourne, go there as Dr. Phil, dressed up, and
I
he'll
should
get
go
you
to
on
restaurants
stage.
like that. Yeah.
And I walked into Rod Laver Arena, dressed like that, and as soon as I walked into the stadium, the crowd erupted and went woo, and I'm like,
They all thought you were
good to see
him.
y'all. And it was so many people wanted selfies with me, and I got a gig out of it, so it was worth
There
it.
you go.
But he didn't call me up on stage. I just sat there in the dark because the lights went out. And I'm sitting there in the dark. My face is all sticky, and then. But it was a good show. And then,
That's funny.
yeah, it used to take like 3 hours to get that full prosthetics on my face. It was crazy. But yeah, they had to mold my face, and it was just awful. But I remember doing 30 shows in 3 days once for a company that booked me to do Dr. Phil sessions, and they'd have these workshops, and 30 people at a time would come in, and I did this 45-minute show. It was mad, and I lost my voice at the end of it.
Bet. Wow.
It was crazy.
Are you? So who's typically your audience? Because it seems like you're like a very family-friendly kind of comedian.
Yeah.
Who is your target? Well, not necessarily target, but who do you tend to attract? Is it everyone?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone that's going to laugh, I like. I've done. That's the good thing. I've done so many corporate shows over the years.
Yeah.
So I've done crowds where you've had, older guys who are, in their 60s and like, oh, I know how to make them laugh. And then I've had people say, oh, can you come to our high school? Oh, yeah. And I've, done more like The Simpsons or Gru. From Despicable Me, I do a Gru voice, yeah, so I can do that one, and it's lots of fun. My kids love this one. And King Julian, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
And then, you could do Trump that can sort of anyone will either love laughing at him because they hate him or love laughing at him because they love him. It just kind of works. So I don't know who the crowd that best, I mean, I'm sort of Gen X, so it's like anything that in that zone is going to work. Either side of that a bit as well. So anyone that's up for a laugh. I think it's always good to have guys and girls in the crowd. Even though I've done a lot of sports events and that they can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun when you've got a mixture of like there's a bit there for everybody. So and it is kind of clean, which is ironic. Most comedians don't tend to be that way, but
Well, that's more what my point was. Yeah.
yeah, I've always wanted people to bring their family, bring your kids, bring anybody, have a laugh, because I've always grown up with laughing at comedians, and so I've always been like, yeah, and I get a lot of people that go, oh, my son loves you, and that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Who? So as when when you were growing up, who were some of the comedians you looked up to? Not necessarily for impersonations, but just that you enjoyed.
Well, I mean, I grew up loving Fawlty Towers.
Oh yeah.
Great show.
Yeah. One of the
Yeah.
all time. Yeah.
And so I do a John Cleese, and I got to meet John as well. So
Really?
Wow.
Yes, but it was a lot more mellow than because sometimes when I do it, he gets really aggressive and a bit more uptight. But no, he's a lot more these days like that. So
Wow.
he was one that I really loved, and I guess I as I said earlier, grow up watching company fast forward where they're always parodying TV. So I'd always be doing that. more just who could I parody, who could I see. I mean, I loved watching the Late Show as well, which had Tony Martin and Mick Malloy and all those guys.
Yeah.
And the 12th Man, they were some of the influences. And then, 20-ish years ago, sort of Mike Myers, Jim Carrey,
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, like, these guys, what they do, it's so fun. Yeah.
This is a real random one, and because we had this conversation last week. I ran him through a challenge. This episode came out today, but like rank these top 13 TV comedy kind of characters, and number 1 on his list is Alan Partridge.
Oh.
Did you ever watch much of Steve Coogan or any of him? And have you ever impersonated him?
Not as such, but probably when I've quoted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Alan Partridge, I think one of the things I like about Alan Partridge, I don't know if I'm doing him, but he goes, I love the Beatles. Probably my favourite album was the best of the Beatles. Classic line.
Yeah, that is a classic line.
And the bit where he's calling out to his mate Dan.
Yeah.
We love it. Dan!
And then he goes, Dan! Goes back for more.
Well, and what did he say?
No, it's not heard me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he hasn't heard me.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I haven't really done him on stage, but
Nah, that's good. That's
he's
cool.
a classic. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's those ones, some of those ones, and we're talking to you off air, like we were talking to Limo about some of his favourite characters too, and he said the exact same. Basil Fawlty, Alan Partridge. Was it David Brent in there as well?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
bit of that.
Yeah. We love The Office too. But
David Brent, yeah. I'm not really, I mean, I could a little bit, but I know a guy he's a lookalike for Ricky Gervais, dead set lookalike. He looks like you'd think it's him. And we knew each other from Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was in London a month ago and I bump into him. And I'm looking at him first. I'm coming out of Victoria Station. I'm going, he looks like Ricky Gervais. I'm like, oh, it is. Well, it's not, but it's this guy that does him. And he goes, Ben, because he knows me.
Wow.
And we go, this is a classic. And so we did this little video.
Wait, was this overseas?
Yeah.
London.
I was just going to say, Sammy,
It's on,
TikTok. There's a guy, it
yeah.
might be him.
Yeah, it would be.
And he literally
What's
gets
his
booked
name?
out for stag do's
Yeah, that's
every
him.
weekend to be
Yeah.
David Brent.
That's
and
him.
he plays the character so well. It's him. It's actually
I know.
him.
And
I don't know if you can find him. but-
And he had his good mate there who does a Gordon Ramsay and looks exactly like Gordon. And so it's just, yeah, that's him.
Is
That's
that him? Yeah.
That's him.
Wow.
I find myself watching him on TikTok all the time.
Yeah, he's a friend. So he is.
Really?
He's
Wow.
brilliant.
Because, I mean, what he's done is like, again, it's just unbelievable to think he's just forged this whole new career for himself.
Just by looking like someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
acts like him. Like
He does. Yeah, he's
the
nailed it.
mannerisms are spot on.
Yeah.
you know?
He's even got the laugh. I can't do it, but
Yeah.
he does the laugh as well. It's amazing.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah,
so-
I the only ones I kind of look like, I have to dress up like Arnie to look like him and Trump to look like him, and obviously prosthetics I can look like Dr. Phil. But I've done a few like that. But it's good not being able to look like anybody. People say I look like Jeremy Cameron. I've had that a few times.
Actually, I can sort of see that, yeah.
Yeah, but I can't imitate him.
yeah,
I've had it a few times. I'm like, oh.
I've only just seen that.
Yeah, I've only just
I've had
seen
it
it too.
a few
And
times.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so it's
Well,
interesting.
he's a gun. So.
Yeah, he's a good player, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take all the credit.
Over the years, you've mentioned some of your gigs you've done, some that probably haven't gone so well or as well as you liked. But what have been, like, in your mind, what stands out as some of the best gigs you've ever done?
Oh, there's been some that you just come away and go, that was so good.
Are they typically big ones or small ones?
Well, I guess the one that stands out that I go, that was good, I nailed it, was when my audition for Australia's Got Talent.
yes.
Because you just, the build-up, I had to wait 7 hours that day, but just the work you put in, I'm going to perfect this. This is going to be 2 minutes where I just absolutely nail this. And you're not sure even till the moment you get on, are they going to like this or not? Are they going to buzz me out? And then as soon as you hear the crowd, oh, yes. And just the energy from the crowd, it was amazing. There's 2,500 people there and it just felt so good, just nailing every voice. You're on such a high because, you realise this is not just a gig. This is everyone watching. This is going to go on TV. And so I was on such a high from that. And it's only 2 minutes of like stuff. And but yet I could hardly sleep that night. I don't think I must have slept half an hour. And you might see the.
Okay, good. Let's see what you got.
Oh,
good
yeah.
luck.
Right, here it goes. But this looks so old now to me.
Yeah.
Everything you ever thought you knew about cooking reality shows is all about to change. Celebrity, My Kitchen Fools.
See, no one's laughing yet.
I can't handle the pressure of this competition. I'm cutting onions. My eyes are burning. I'm gonna start crying like a girly man.
So then I start feeling really.
I'm mixing up the donut mixture. Donuts.
That was a tense first few seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I got chocolate. I got
Risky.
flour, sugar. The donut hole. I forgot the donut hole. No!
Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
They want me to cook a steak in 10 minutes. What were they thinking? I mean, I deal with
Wow.
relationships.
That's gold.
It's hard.
That's
but
insane. Yeah. Have you done any? I'm thinking like shows where, like cartoon shows or whatever, you've done voiceovers. Is that something you'd want to get into one day?
Cartoon shows. I used to go on Kids WB a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
I have done a few cartoon shows. I'm doing one at the moment where they're testing it out for a series that may happen.
Oh, cool. So do you have to develop your own character? And if so, how do you develop something totally fresh?
With that, they had a view in mind
Okay.
of something they wanted me to do. So that was just trying to mimic, and they go, oh yeah, we're happy with that. But there was a film I did a few years ago called The Pilgrim's Progress, and I came up with the voices. They said, we want it to sound a bit like this. And that was really cool. There was sort of British accents.
Yep.
One was like a high-pitched kind of John Cleese voice.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And that was the one. That's it there, the cartoon one. And I grew up. That's a really old book. It's like Narnia kind of style, but
Right.
I did about 3 voices in this. And one of the other guys was what's his name from Lord of the Rings, John Rhys Davies.
Right. So was it Australian film? Or was it American film?
It was made in America,
Yeah, okay.
but most of the accents are British because
Okay.
that's where it's set.
Got you.
And it was really cool.
Wow.
One of they showed me this is what the animation looks like. Come up with a voice, and one of them they showed me. I don't think you'll find it online, but it looked like me. I'm going, did you draw that based on me? And they're like, no. I'm like, that looks like me doing a character. And everyone I showed it to, that's you. So it was really weird.
That's weird.
It was so weird, but that was really cool because some animations that you have to match the animation with
Yeah.
your voice. I did the voice, and then they matched the animation with the way I did it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I love that stuff.
Yeah. You'd be.
I definitely want to be doing more of that.
I was just thinking that's like because you always think about shows like The Simpsons, right? That just go on for years and years and years and years. But then you think, okay, if somebody for whatever reason either passes away or they lose their voice, like can a Homer be replaced? Well, clearly
I could do it.
Yeah.
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 That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
on that too, though, I think I saw something. It would have been a while ago. Actually, you know what it was? I went on a Disney cruise at the start of the year.
Oh, wow.
With my family, mind you, we're all grown adults. Yeah. But still, the best time ever. I loved it because we were a real Disney family. And Mr. Potato Head, for the last Toy Story, he'd already passed away. The voice.
Yeah.
But they captured all the voice content from all the toys that they'd made over the years that had his voice in it, and all the other movies, and repurposed it. Wow. So every line that he had in the last film, he wasn't alive, but his voice was in it.
Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
And now they could just use AI.
Yeah, probably.
How do you feel about that? Because I mean, that's scary for most people with any kind of profile being mimicked. But how do you feel about that? Like,
well, I use it where I have done some deep fake characters, where, especially during COVID, because I couldn't dress up like these, couldn't have access to makeup people, and I would do messages for people, and it was, often Trump or Arnie saying happy birthday to whoever, and then I started doing King Charles messages for people for their birthdays. Hello, it's the artist formerly known as Prince here, giving you a birthday message, and something like that, and they'd use AI to tweak his face, and it was crazy. So I don't mind it, but when they do the voice, then it's like, well, then you have I'm out of a job, but you've still got to have the creative content and the timing, because I've seen people just replicate it and go, it's not quite there yet. But yeah, it might get to that point.
But they can't.
I did
seeing you live though, like from what we're seeing here, it's just it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I was almost going to do one for my daughter when she turned 12 because we watched Cobra Kai. And you seen it?
No.
Oh, it's like the spin-off of The Karate Kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did like a voice of Johnny Lawrence, hey, wishing you happy birthday, like that. So, but it was all AI, the face and everything. And I was like, look who I got. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's going to get to the point where it's like, it's just AI. They won't need me.
Can you sing by any chance?
Oh, I can do all right.
Because I'm like, that's another level. If you can impersonate, say, Michael Jackson talking, can you sing as some of these people? Like,
yeah, not that. I can't sing. I mean, I can imitate Michael. I could probably sing. I used to do like a parody of Michael Jackson.
Because I think those things would go nuts on TikTok.
But not like as good as him. I used to sing, heal my nose, make it a better face. Which would be so wrong to say that, right? But I remember doing it years ago.
My first thought is, I don't know, I would love to prank someone with Ben.
Me too. That's how I was
Like,
thinking.
who would you choose?
I don't know.
Who would you?
I'd hate to do it, but like if you rang like someone elderly, they'd freak out. Like I'm thinking, if you rang my grandma as Trump, she'd freak out. Like
We should do it.
Yeah, I'm always down for that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Go on, get your
we
phone out.
might do it off camera. Yeah, little exclusive for everyone.
Yeah. God. Well, we did think, Ben, before it would be great if you'd be up for it. Is you pick the three if you want. You pick the three, and we ask you like 2 or 3 questions, and we might get a minute of each one. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
All right. I think we wrote a bit of a
Yeah.
Oh,
Get
we
that
wrote a
list
bit of a
up.
list, but you can pick which one you want. I think we went. Well, we've had a bit of Trump.
Or could we almost talk to you and we could ask you a very basic question, and then we might just throw names, and then you just morph straight into the next character.
All right.
All right. So we might start with let's start with the former president of the United States, Mr. Trump.
Well, welcome, Mr. Donald Trump, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Apologies, we're not dressed in our suits. We feel a bit bad. But how are you enjoying your time in Melbourne?
It's fantastic. I love your country. It's a great country. We're building a wall around Australia. We're getting New Zealand to pay for it, and I miss Australia.
Biden.
I miss New Zealand. She's beautiful.
Joe, what was it like when you found out that Joe was stepping out of the race of the?
Oh, you're talking to Joe, or you're talking?
Oh no! I thought we were still asking questions.
Yeah,
I nearly
Joe,
went into Joe then.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people say Joe dropped out of the race, a couple of months ago, but it was actually 4 years ago he dropped out of the race. They may as well use AI. It's like being Weekend at Bernie's for the last 4 years. It really is a
Good
bad
movie.
thing. They said he was going to be running for president. He can't even be walking, this guy. He's so old. He was at a funeral, and someone said it's hardly worth the trip back home. He's a very old man. Sleepy Joe.
Well, Mr. Biden, you're obviously sitting next to Mr. Trump there. What would you have to say to those comments?
This is malarkey, man. I don't understand what this guy's talking about. This guy thinks what do you call the military from? Can't read that word. He called them suckers and losers, man. Guy's got no respect. No respect for the military. I can't believe it.
Well, Ben Stiller's also just walked in as well.
G'day.
Which Ben, I'm a massive fan of your movies.
Oh, yeah.
My favourite is actually Night at the Museum.
Oh,
which
great.
is a classic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like Night at the Museum. Yeah, it was like, I had to walk around like with a little touch, but it was like hard because like no actors there. Had to, everything was like animated after,
Yeah. Was Robert De Niro intimidating in?
Robert De Niro was very intimidating. I have to say.
And the former UK president has just walked in, Boris Johnson. How are you feeling after everything that's gone down in the...
Yes. Well, feeling good. Fighting fit as the butcher's dog, as they say, and very happy to be here. The Prime Minister was great, and I had COVID, right? I took all the precautions. They say should you go to work or not? But my doctor said you're trying to think of things to say. You're looking pasty. I said I'm back to normal.
It's so good.
And then I just want to finish with Borat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes. I'm very excited.
oh gosh. Oh, very good. Very good.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Well done, Ben. That's incredible.
It's a fun voice.
Yeah.
Gee, I haven't laughed so hard on a
Me
podcast
too.
for a very long
Yeah,
time.
me too.
Before we let Ben go, what are some of we've got some gifts for Ben for
We
coming
do.
on the show today.
So Fleet Plan Hire have kindly given Ben a little goodie bag full of golf goodies. You're looking at some golf accessories. So I don't know if you play much golf, Ben. But
You know, I've done a few golf days where
Yep.
I've turned up as characters. So, I'm okay.
You don't do a Adam Sandler, do you, or Happy Gilmore?
Oh, I probably could, do like an Adam Sandler, if I was going to do like some golf or something, I get really aggressive, but
Fleet Plan, they're sending you home with a few little golf accessories, a little goodie pack, and Golf Box are sending you home with some stuff as well, which is exciting. But I reckon we head over to the Golf Box.
Yeah,
But before we do, where do you find Golf Box, firstly?
Golfbox.com.au, best in the business, Australia-wide, fast and free shipping, which is unbelievable. So we're talking, we're about to put Ben to the test with the golf mat, the putters, the balls, everything. You can find it all on golfbox.com.au.
Ben, it's been an absolute blast.
it's been fun, guys.
Gosh.
How do we find you, by the way?
I'm just here. I'm on TikTok, Ben Price Comedy, Instagram. It's all Ben Price Comedy, benpricecomedy.com.
If we want to book you for a corporate event or something, is that through the
04,
website?
I won't give my number. But just go to benpricecomedy.com. You can contact me on there, mail at benpricecomedy.com, and
Awesome.
we'll get there. And you might even get, you could even book Tim Tam. I didn't do that. I was telling you about that.
So is Tim Tam retired or semi-retired?
I'm going to bring him back. I'm going to bring him
Yeah.
back. He's my Vietnamese character that I used to do. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Oh, it sounds like a lot of
I think that's the thing. When you can't do something, people want it more.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
absolutely.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Ben. We appreciate your time and good luck with everything. Well, we've loved watching you, and hopefully I'm looking forward to seeing more and more of you on TikTok.
Yes, me
Yeah.
too.
Thank
Yeah.
you, guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Welcome back, everybody, to the dos&d show. Here comes our favourite segment. It is the Golf Box Putting Challenge. Today we have the great Ben Price. Ben, how's your golfing skills?
Oh, they're not too good, but this distance I can manage.
Reckon you can
I think so.
We'll explain the rules shortly. Before we do, you will be putting for a charity of your choice. Who is the charity and why?
I'm going to go with. It's called Living Waters Down Under.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do they do?
They're a Christian charity organisation. They help spread the word. So check them out. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Now, you're saying that your golf game isn't great, but I'm sure there's some other alter egos amongst yourself within you that might be good at golf.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
There could be. I mean, there's some that think they're really good at golf.
He thinks he's so great at golf, but I got a couple of courses. I got a new set of clubs for Melania, which was a great swap, believe me. It really is.
I'm thinking of Iron Man when I look at this.
Yeah, it does look a bit like
That is,
similar
by
colour.
the way, we should say. This
Iron
is
Man.
golfbox.com.
And it is an iron, so it could actually work. So
Yeah, true.
yeah.
Well, that is, of course, the tailor-made spider putter, which you can get
very
at golfbox.com.au. Now, Ben, here are the rules. You've got 6 balls to putt, and this is all based on our scoring system. So,
Yep.
if you can land it flush in the bullseye, that's
Yeah.
50 points. If you work backwards, this circle's 25, 20, 15,
Yep.
square's 10, and then it goes 5, 3, and 1. Anything off the mat is 0. But
Yeah, it's a gutter ball.
it's a gutter ball. But here's how you can potentially win the $1,000. If you can land the ball flush on that dot, and we mean flush, not a little bit to the side, it's going to be flush on, it's worth 100
No
points.
one's got that yet.
No one's got it. People have gotten close, but we think
Yeah.
you can get a relatively good score there and then hit one of those flush, you might hit
All
the
right.
lead. So that is
Okay.
the challenge.
And I do it from this.
Yep, that's the spot.
Yeah, anywhere
Okay.
from
Let's just get that nice and ready.
Who's going to do it? I mean, it'll be me. It'll be my skills, but someone's voice, maybe.
I wouldn't mind a bit of Adam Sandler in there. Just
all right, so I don't know if I'm actually. But he's gonna I'm not gonna do his style.
Yeah, he'll
'cause I'll be
run.
like, you guys are in trouble.
Yeah, we're renting this space. We don't own it.
you can hit as many as you like, as many characters. Here we go. Right,
Just tap it in. Tap it in.
Here we go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, let's
Here we
go.
Is he going to go for it earlier? Or is he going to go? That's a good start.
It's actually not a bad start.
That's a very good start. Or we'll do that. 20 points.
20 points. Woo.
That's a good start.
That's nice.
Well, not a bad start. All right. Who's next? You wanted Owen Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so no, Owen's perfect like this because you don't want to go like too big, get in the bunkers. You just want to get a nice tap. So, all right, so I'm going for the bullseye. If I don't, I'm going to get that little dot there for 100 points. Wow. Okay, so let's do this. You made for this game.
Oh, it's good. Bit too much.
Oh, Owen, wow.
Too hard. Oh, man.
Joe, who do you want? You pick a character.
Yeah.
You got to like Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld. Playing golf on the green here today. Comedians with golf clubs trying to get the dot. Here we go. What is the deal with trying to putt a ball on the carpet? I don't understand this game.
That's cleaner. That's really
It's
good.
not a bad shot.
Oh, so we're at 20. At the
20
halfway mark,
again.
so we're,
All right.
we're at 40.
Bring that golf box in.
I'll give that to
Okay.
Bryce.
Ben,
I'm
draw,
up there though.
Draw one out.
Oh, okay. Is that one?
Yep.
Yep.
I'll read it out for you.
There we go.
All right. What's the dumbest injury you've given yourself?
Did
Maybe we could do that as Trump. Or whoever you want. My first thought was the ear.
Yeah, no, but it was actually confusing. But it was so good that I dodged a bullet because Secret Service was saying Donald Duck, and I said I love Donald Duck. He's great. My craziest injury though, I was on a trampoline when I was about 12 or 13, and it was like a dislocated elbow. Or, yeah.
Ooh.
It was horrible.
One of those old trampolines with the
Springs on the outside.
Yeah. I was on a holiday and it was painful, but yeah, I've done some bad injuries. Oh, it's a whole story. But I did a fall once where I was supposed to do a stunt and I was dressed up like Arnie.
Oh no.
Because someone said you've got to audition for this stunt show, and I dressed up like Arnie to do it. And I'm not a stunt person. Everyone else auditioning was a stunt person, and they were all doing backflips and falls, and I just had to do a fall, and I fell on my butt, and I was like, oh no.
Oh.
And then
Was it in front of a crowd?
yeah, it was like about 50 people. Like they're all stunt people.
Yeah.
And I went for the slapstick angle, and one guy goes, "Yeah, good fall, man." I was like, "Yeah, I was going for the funny angle," and I'm like, "Oh." Yeah, so that was
Not
stupid.
intentional.
All right, so at the halfway mark,
All right.
you're 40, which is not out of it.
That's not too bad.
Couple bullseyes or
So who's doing this one?
Bryce.
You pick one, Bryce.
Peter Griffin.
Oh, I don't do a Peter Griffin.
no.
Oh, isn't that weird? Yeah. I mean, I could probably try to do a Peter Griffin. So that's not bad.
It's not bad.
I've heard people do it, so I'm gonna try and. I'm going into De Niro.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Maybe let's.
Yeah, go De Niro.
Go De Niro.
Maybe Robert De Niro's like a Peter Griffin, who's like, you know, all right, not so much a family guy. All right. I'm a wise guy. All right, here we go. I shouldn't. I can't hardly see the ball. I'll do this, but all right.
Oh, it's going.
See, I went for that dot there.
Bullseye.
That's
Yeah.
not bad. So we're at 45.
All right.
All
All
right.
right, who do you want?
Can you do it? Can you do a Donald Duck actually?
No. No, I can do Trump, but not a Donald Duck.
Oh, let me think.
Gee, there's so many good
give us a
voices.
give
There's so many great voices to choose
Is that
from.
Bruce?
Bruce could do it.
Yeah, let's
I
do
mean, I
Bruce.
love every game. Golf's probably not one of my favourites, but I mean, Tiger Woods, he's a great player, isn't he? On and off the field. He's done some great things, some classics. So let's see how we go
That
here.
is magnificent.
What a delicious club this is. It's a little short for me. I've got to bend down,
Come on, Bruce.
hit over
Go,
the ball,
Bruce.
and tap it. Here we go. Not too hard, just a bit of that.
Oh, Bruce.
No.
Oh, that's
sorry.
10. That's
Crikey.
10. That's still 10.
Still 10. Still on
55.
the leaderboard.
Has to hit.
And we've got to finish with someone really. Who were you going to say?
I was going to say Sammy Newman, but I reckon you can
Well,
better one.
no, Sam. Sam might be a good one to do because he doesn't mind a golf game, and
That's
so
true.
That's true.
and you know you've
And
got
we've
to.
had him on the show before.
He's been on the show before, and he's great. He's magnificent. So
let's
By the way, do you reckon Sam's morphing more into Trump?
do you think so?
I reckon.
Well, he's got the red hat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
But the
on my
way he
movies already.
was talking at parts on the pod, I'm like, he's turning.
he was starting to sound like President Trump, and he was doing all of this.
Yes,
and,
he was.
Wow.
And we're doing fantastic. He's the Aussie Trump. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, that's a great Sammy Newman.
Oh, thank you. Is he one to end on?
Well, have you got one? Actually, let's have a look at. There's some faces in here.
I can't see anyone on there that I do. I mean, Happy Gilmore's on there, of course. You got to have him.
Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay's good.
Is he on there?
No, he's not on here.
But not.
I'm trying to think of one.
Because with a drive, yes, good.
Because you whack that ball as hard as you can, right? Get in that hole. Right.
I love the Arnie. The Arnie was
So
amazing.
let's finish with
Let's finish with Arnie.
I mean, this is great. I mean, it's a girly man sport here, but it doesn't matter. We're doing it for charity, and this is fantastic. So I'm going to get that little hole there, and they're going to come on, stand over
Don't
there.
eat the ball, Arnold.
And they're going to eat the ball. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I'm holding onto this, like I'm gripping, some kind of weight, like a little starting up weight. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and...
Go. Oh, that's good.
Come on, the bullseye.
Oh, we'll give that 15. Finishes with a score of
15.
60.
What have we got,
Finishes with a score of 60.
Jared?
Am I on the leaderboard?
60?
60.
Yeah.
Finish with 60.
Yeah, you're on the leaderboard.
You're up there.
I'm up
You're
there.
up there.
Not quite at the top, but very respectable. I reckon that's top 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think that's 4.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
So he's done
Yeah.
very,
Out of
very
4
well.
people, it's not bad.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Ben.
you.
We really
No, we've loved
appreciate
it.
Make sure, guys, if you do want to get any of this wonderful.
And I also want to apologise to everyone how often I've asked him to do Borat. It's a personal preference.
I also got to get him to do his voicemail as before.
Yeah, I'll say that.
But of course, you can get all this wonderful equipment at golfbox.com.au, plus free shipping. Thank you everybody for tuning into the dos&d show. Subscribe, like, do all that stuff.
Awesome.